Welcome to the Beyond the Years podcast, a podcast about all things Disney.
You are listening to episode 44. Today we're going to do a spoiler-free review of Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. So we were lucky enough to go see the movie last night, Thursday night, with my brother and his wife. And Josh, you want to go ahead and... We don't have a lot of time today, so we'll just jump right into it. Overall thoughts?
Overall thoughts are that you have to see this movie because it is really good. I've had time to think about it all day today, and I'm like, oh man, I can't wait to think whenever we do our spoiler review.
Yeah.
To talk about it more in depth, but I was trying to figure out what I want to say today without giving too much away, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So, I guess I can go with some of my favorite, notable things without, spoilers. I don't think we've never done a spoiler-free kind of review, have we?
No.
Okay. So
that's why I was all day today, I'm like, shit, I don't even know what to think or what to say.
We're newbies. So, okay. So first and foremost, the actors did such a phenomenal job.
Yeah.
It was such the movie was a very heavy movie, a very emotional film. I think that anyone could assume that, because Chadwick Boseman passed away.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone knows that. And so obviously this was going to be the sequel to Black Panther, which he was T'Challa. Obviously he's not going to be in this film because he passed away. So everyone kind of knew, I would assume going in, that it was going to be emotional regardless of if the movie made it emotional, if that made any sense.
Yeah.
But I feel like they did make it emotional on top of it already being, emotional. I was had tears in my eyes throughout the whole movie, from the very beginning. And there was several scenes throughout, and then at the end I could not pull it together. So it was a very emotional movie.
Yeah. You cry beginning, middle, and end. There's a very how the movie is set up. It's you cry.
Yeah.
Pretty good in the beginning, pretty good in the middle, and then at the very end it's super sad.
They gotta really warm you up for the end. But just kind of, if you haven't seen it yet, go into it expecting that you might be emotional. I think most people probably were. I get very sucked into the atmosphere and
The moment.
feel pretty empathetic with the characters in pretty much anything that I watch. So the actors did such a good job that you felt what they were feeling. So I definitely was very emotional. But it just goes to show their performances were so good.
Yeah. I mean, they had to pull an amazing performance together to honor Chadwick, and I mean there was a lot of things that take into effect, because it's this is technically a sequel, but it's almost the first movie.
Yeah,
because
I mean
it's rebuilding Wakanda and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
What happens after the king's passing.
Yeah, so I will say I went into it not really knowing what to expect. I had only watched the official trailer maybe 2 times, and it's been a while since I've watched the trailer, so I couldn't even remember what it was going to be about.
Yeah.
I just remember very briefly what you told me, and so to get what we got, it was very unexpected.
Mm-hmm.
I like the storyline. I was very intrigued by it.
So when we left the theater last night,
Yeah,
I didn't realize the movie was 2.5 hours.
it was so long.
But I do think thinking about it today, there were some pacing issues, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think I mentioned this to you last night on our drive home. It was a little bit slower than I would have liked. Not necessarily for that first watch, because I think the first time you watch anything, you're going to be the most invested. But I think if you're wanting to rewatch it again and again and again, I think it might be a little slow,
Yeah.
especially the first half.
Yeah, it was super slow.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty much what I was gonna talk about was each character's like performance,
Okay.
because obviously like we know, like without going into like too many like spoilers beyond the, like what the character is in the movie and how
I mean,
they did.
I think we can talk about the cast because it's like literally you just Google the cast and it's on there. So I mean, people should know who's going to be in the film.
Okay, well I'm just gonna give you like my standouts in my opinion for the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So Tenoch Huerta, Namor,
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was absolutely amazing
Mm-hmm.
in the movie. He killed like every scene that he was in.
Mm-hmm.
I totally bought into like that.
I think you're gonna give something away if you keep talking.
No, I know.
I can tell you want to go. I can tell your thought process right now.
No, I know. I'm just saying, like, I totally bought into like what he was preaching.
Yeah. Oh, I agree.
And he's definitely not a villain, and he's definitely not like a hero.
He's an anti-hero, and we can definitely discuss it a lot further in the full review.
Yeah.
But I agree completely. He killed it.
And obviously another one was Letitia Wright, Shuri.
Mm-hmm.
And like we talked about this like briefly last night. Like Chadwick Boseman was like more than just like a friend to her. Like she looked up to him like a brother.
Mm-hmm.
Like as well as like obviously him playing her brother in the movie. So I think for her it was like elevated to 100.
Yeah.
Like her performance was great. Like, even though the character's direction was like way different than what I expected it to be.
Mm-hmm.
And like we'll talk about this more in the spoilery episode, but I thought she did a great job. And Dominique Thorne, who played Riri Williams, she stole every scene that she was in, I thought. And she was super funny. And then also Winston Duke, who plays M'Baku.
I love M'Baku.
Yeah.
Especially this, like even more in this film than the first one.
Yeah, he's just more humble now. And I like what they're doing with that character and how they're doing it.
Yeah, I love him. He's cool.
Yeah.
For sure.
But, I mean, and then obviously the rest of the cast, Denai Guerrera, who plays Okoye, she did a freaking fantastic job, and it's super sad for her. Angela Bassett, which, by the way, I didn't know she was 65 years old.
Dude, she is freaking phenomenal. Look how amazing. She looks so dang good. Like, I'm 28, and like she puts us all to shame. Like, she is stunning and just amazing. I just, and she feels like a queen.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
like I feel like she's obviously playing a role, but she plays it so well. Like she's like a queen to me. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I love her.
Yeah. I was like, holy crap, she's 65 when I was looking at
She looks dang good.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, she did a great job in the movie as well. Like, I mean, from the opening, it was like she's the queen and she has to take on like the world practically because it's, you know, Wakanda and vibranium and the king is dead and all this kind of stuff. So I thought that was super cool how much she owned the character during the movie.
Yeah, 100%. Can you go back to Okoye for a second?
Yeah.
I feel like we've gotten some character development up to this point with Okoye, and like everyone's loved her so far.
Yeah.
But this movie like took it to the next level, and her character as a whole is just like she was definitely one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Such a badass.
I love her. She's so funny.
Yeah. And we got to see a different kind of a more, this movie was very heavy, but it had some like really well-timed humor as well. There were parts that were a little bit light and, you know, most of it was heavy, but we did get some humor in there, which was nice.
Yeah. And like for the most part, Martin Freeman, who plays Everett Ross. he like
Oh yeah.
for the very little that he is in the movie, because he's not in the movie much. Um, I just love that character.
Yeah.
I think he's funny, and like his storyline, it'll be interesting to see where his storyline goes in the future.
Yeah, honestly, it had been so long since we'd seen the first movie. Like, I couldn't even remember what happened with this guy to lead us to where we are, but I kind of got there throughout the movie. But
Mm-hmm.
anyway.
Oh, Nakia.
Yeah, I was going to say, are you going to talk about Nakia?
Yeah.
She was amazing.
Yeah, Lupita. I'm not even going to try to pronounce her last name. I can't. I know how it is pronounced, but I'm not going to say it on here.
Yeah.
But she, like, I'm just saying, like, the main cast did just such a freaking amazing job.
Yeah, so I heard that this movie started filming, was it in 2020 or 2019?
2020.
And then like apparently they had like so many issues, like Letitia Wright got injured
Yeah,
in
she broke a
filming.
leg or broke her arm or something.
Yeah, and then they had several COVID things
outbreaks.
happen, and
Yeah.
they were really put through the ringer with this one. And
yeah, there was a lot. Like, the movie was potentially like throttled down because of Letitia Wright. Like, she's very anti-vax, and I don't think she's got the COVID-19 shot.
Okay.
And that was like a big deal. And like, obviously the media like dials that to 1,000. Like, Letitia Wright is like, yeah, just like a whole thing.
Oh yeah.
But I remember seeing that in the news, because they're gonna recast Shuri, and I was like, wow, do not recast Shuri, because she's so like.
No, that's the exact opposite of like what freedom is, but
Yeah.
we'll move past the political agendas over here.
No, I know. I'm just saying that was like one of the things, because it was like potentially like Black Panther could get delayed longer if they have to recast Shuri and like reshoot all these scenes. It's
That's
like
crazy.
God, that would be so annoying.
But also like Chadwick Boseman's death was a lot more recent when they were filming as opposed to like when we're getting the movie.
Yeah.
Obviously, because it takes time for them to like do edits and get everything in post production and that kind of thing.
I think he passed away in early 2020.
Yeah, August of 2020.
Oh, okay.
So I think he had filmed some of this prior to his passing.
I don't know if he would have filmed it, because if he would have filmed anything, they probably would have put that in the movie.
You're right. I feel like I heard that. But regardless, it was very fresh in their minds when they were recording.
Mm-hmm.
Which is terrible.
I know.
So how did you feel about him not being in this movie? And like moving forward, how does that make you feel?
There's a few things. So like we talked about, like this movie rewatchability. I feel like I would rewatch this movie more than I would the first movie. However, it feels like it's missing chat. I mean, it just, there's a hole there.
Yeah, for sure.
Because he brought such a like just like attention to the screen when he was on screen. Like anytime, like even in Infinity War and Endgame. Like the little bit that he was in Endgame, but like in Infinity War and like Civil War. That's like Civil War is my favorite like Black Panther that we get, I think. But he just had like such a cool presence, and
he's so noble, which is ironic because that's mentioned in the movie.
Yeah.
But I agree, like it just kind of felt like there was a piece missing, which obviously, you can't fill that void, but
and like the whole recasting T'Challa, like I was like, they could do that, but it still like wouldn't feel the same.
Oh no, I'm so glad, I'm so glad they went in the direction they did. I feel like they paid homage to Chadwick a lot, and I feel like this was a respectful way to move forward without giving anything away. But I feel like that part was really well done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad they didn't recast.
Yeah, I am too. Now, like, going forward, like, because we're getting Avengers Secret Wars and the Kang Dynasty and, like, all this kind of multiversal stuff, like, if in the end of the day, like, they have a multiverse reset and, like, you know, eventually we'll get a new Iron Man kind of thing in, like, 10 years or, like, whatever. Or, like, they pull another Black Panther from, like, a different multiverse in Secret Wars and, like, he just ends up staying in our universe kind of thing. Like, I think I'd be okay with that. But, like, it's still too soon. And, like, by the time we get those, it'll be, like, you know, 4 or 5 years down the road. So,
well, I think that's fine. I think that would be fine because simply because of the way that they did this film to pay their respects to him.
Yeah.
And to remember him. And it was really beautifully done.
Yeah. Because T'Challa, like, in the comics is such a big part of the comics.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you kind of have to have a T'Challa.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be fine if they got another T'Challa from a different multiverse. Kind of like the Spider-Mans that we saw in, was it Homecoming or Far From Home?
No Way Home.
Shoot, missed it completely. No Way Home, the other one. But how we had 3 different actors for Spider-Man. Really interesting because, you know, Doctor Strange is like the same in every multiverse apparently.
Yeah.
But Spider-Man's not, so it stands to reason that T'Challa would be different, could be different. So they could do that. What other notes do you have on this movie?
Without getting too much into, like, spoilers, I can't really think of anything beyond, like, the soundtrack was really good. Like, all the score for the movie. You get that same, like that you get from the first movie, like the very African beat. And I did love that they take Namor from, like, being, like, from Atlantis to Talokan. That's not really a spoiler because I talked about that, but they've distanced themselves from, like, what everyone would have thought if he's from Atlantis. They think, like, oh, he's just like Aquaman. Like, you do not get an Aquaman vibe at all from him because he's
no, not at all.
100% different.
This was, yeah, I remember you kind of talking about, like, Aquaman and Atlantis, and I'm like, what is happening? And then we watched the movie and I was like, you know what? I loved it. It was good. Like, you know, we can't say much more, but I thought that was really cool. Yeah.
How they do it is, it's kind of how Wakanda is. Wakanda is very organic, and that's how Talokan is. It's very, like, it's not like Atlantis in Aquaman, where it's, like, super futuristic kind of, and just, like, really, and it's very different. This is more organic and, like, more intriguing, I think, honestly.
Oh yeah, I wasn't expecting that at all. So good. For me, I will say, I think I mentioned this to you yesterday, but so we watched it just the one time, and I feel like I could probably watch it again, like, relatively soon, but that will be enough for me for a long time.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. But at the same time, I'm like, oh man, it'll come out on digital in 45 days to Disney Plus. So should we wait till then?
It won't be. It definitely won't be something that I rewatch often. Just because of, like, the pacing of it, and then, like, just how heavy it is. And I think that heaviness is obviously going to be the most impactful during your first watch. But I think I would feel that, you know, anytime I watch it. And I don't like to feel that way. So
no, I get it. I would rewatch it just for Namor.
Yeah, he was cool.
Because it was so, like, his character is so interesting. And I definitely think they're setting up for more, like, a Namor project. in the future, just because it's like the whole thing is super, like their whole world is super intriguing.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I can't say anything else without going way into spoilers, like, because I'm like very close to like on a line of spoilers and not.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, also just representation. We had like almost an all black cast, which is cool.
And an all South American cast too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, obviously it's in Wakanda, so we saw that a lot in the first movie, but obviously that's important with the introduction of Riri Williams as well. Hopefully, I mean, I would hope that any superhero film inspires like young kids, you know, but I think this movie especially just like little girls, you know, being inspired.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a pretty strong female led cast.
Yeah, I mean I would say like 70% of the movie is female led, because you have the Queen, you have Shuri, Okoye, like the Dora Milaje, they're all female. Obviously Riri.
Yeah, so hopefully that's just like really empowering to young girls, especially young black girls who don't have as much representation. I think, you know, we're getting better at that. You know, this movie's a step in the right direction, so hopefully that's exciting, and I loved it. So
yeah, I do too. Definitely go see it if you haven't seen it. But yeah, that's all I think we need to wrap this up, because I think we're both gonna like start getting too into spoilery.
Okay, well, is there anything else you want to say before we end the podcast today? Because I know there's been a couple things that have either come out or been announced that we haven't had a chance to talk about yet on the podcast.
Okay, not even Marvel related, but the guy that voices Batman from like the animated series, he'd passed away.
I saw that today. I saw that on Facebook today.
Yeah, Kevin Conroy, which is super sad, because that's like childhood stuff.
We're starting to lose, like, we're getting to the age where we're starting to see like a lot of people pass away.
Yeah, all the people that we grew up with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's awful.
Yeah.
We had
Disney Plus
I
has
was about to say.
Zootopia Plus, which is freaking hilarious.
Yeah, so I don't think we're going to have enough time in our lives to do a whole podcast about Zootopia Plus. You want to do like a quick 2-minute like recap? Overview? No.
We'll do a podcast about it.
All right.
Because it's so fun that you can't not. Because those 2 episodes are so funny. They're short, so they're only about 10 minutes long a piece, and there's 6 of them. So you're getting like pretty close to about an hour of like content, Zootopia content.
Yeah.
But I will say this: it takes place in between the Zootopia movie. So like the scenes that you get are like happening during Zootopia. You just don't see it because you're not following the main.
Yeah, it just took different characters from the movie and expanded upon a specific timeline during the movie.
Yeah.
But like we got to see like their lives a little bit more.
Their vantage point.
Yeah, so if you like Zootopia, definitely check it out.
It's so funny.
It's really fun, lighthearted. It's a quick watch. If you've got kids, I think they'll be interested. Grayson has certainly enjoyed it the past few days. So
yeah.
All right. Well, stay tuned for our full review of Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Hopefully we can get that done soon.
Yeah, we've been talking about potentially having our brother and sister-in-law, or your brother, my brother-in-law, and sister-in-law to do it with us.
Yeah.
But that's because since we saw it with them.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
We're still up in the air because we're like, I don't know if they want to do that, or like when we can do it kind of thing. Because really the only time we'd be able to do it would be tomorrow night.
No kidding.
So I don't know if it'll
the
happen. The
timeline is pretty tight.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll wrap it up. But thank you guys for listening today. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you have seen Black Panther Wakanda Forever, let us know what you thought of it. We would love to hear from you. It sounds like it's been well received so far. People have been pretty positive from what I've seen. But definitely let us know what you think about it. And we will talk to you guys in the next one.